trying to get you over. You like love sour, then you should come try my poison.
And we're back with another first chapter. I'm Rodney V. Smith. The V is for Vercingetorix, and I'm a Wattpad author and star, and winner of the Watty Award in 2018 for The Canefield Killer. Now, I've started a couple of series to feature some of the work on Wattpad that I've enjoyed, or at least heard about from, my friends who are also authors. One of those friends is M. Dalto, or Druid Rose in Wattpad, but we usually just call her MB. Now, I found out this morning that MB has a novelette being released on Tuesday next week, so this is probably a great time to introduce you to her style of writing, which brings us to Cut to the Bone. This one I actually started a little while ago, so I'm breaking my first rule of, reading first time ever, but it's been a while. And since it's my rule and I'm not going to tell me, I'm going to go for it. So, first time reading, these are the rules. First time reading, see the wink? No cuts, no edits, all mistakes. First chapter. You can follow along because, I've been extra nice. And the link is in the description below. Okay, so are you ready? Here we go with Cut the Bone. Now, I'm going to go straight from the synopsis for Cut to the Bone. Ever since her 18th birthday, Azima Rousseau knew she would die battling the forces of hell, just as her mother had, and her grandmother before her. So when her destiny delivers her to death's door, it is not the devil who answers, but the Demon Prince Malecoda. Instead of ending her fated existence as his sworn enemy, he decides to bind her into a pact that challenges not only the intensity of her will to survive, but also the integrity of her soul to persevere. Okay, I think we're going to go straight into the chapter. So here we go. Click it, read it. Read it on Wattpad. Read along if you want. It's right there. So, okay, this is the author's note. I'm gonna skip this one and go to chapter 1. Chapter 1. The Dusk. Sorry. Okay, let's start over again. Okay, chapter 1. The Dawn, the Dusk, Heaven, Hell, the Forest, the Seas. The impact of the flat of the broadsword against the back of her knee caught Azima off guard, and the instinctual defensive swing of her own sword carried her forward, almost to the point of falling. Che, her mother's Immerman, and therefore Azima's mentor by association, smirked from where he stood across from her within the training circle. He watched her with a judgmental eye as she straightened up and readied herself to parry his next attack. "Where did you go last night?" he asked, instead of making an advance. "I didn't go anywhere," she finally countered, catching his gaze with her own. "Beyond Azima Rousseau. He waits for you beyond." Azima? She blinked and realized he hadn't moved. Not 1 inch from where he stood across from her, strong arms across over his chest, sword dangling from his belt. Though she didn't receive the naturally dark tan of his complexion, the eyes that almost turned black as night, flecked with gold like the stars, those she received from him, with his dark curls falling in his face from where they escaped from the tail at the nape of his neck, and his teeth so perfect she wanted to punch them in just out of spite. She began to understand why her mother chose him from the lot. "What are you doing?" she snapped incredulously. "You're supposed to help train me fight, so help!" He raised a brow, and she was ready to throw the sword at his face. "I'll train you when I know you're actually here to be trained," he said, finally taking a step forward. "You had a dream last night, didn't you?" "You've already taken one of us," she heard herself say into the darkest corner of her room. The soft tendrils of death wafted through the window of Azima's bedroom, but she didn't need to see the black serpentine arms spiraling through the dense evening air to know she was dreaming. The candle had died down hours ago, allowing only moonlight to shine through the room's single window. "I'm not here to take another Rousseau," a hoarse whisper hissed from the dark corner of the room. "I'm here to warn you." "So what if I did?" she countered defensively. "It's in your stance. You're distracted. So, he scoffed. "You're beyond your 18th year. You should have been on the road to seek out your own Immerman months ago." "Perhaps I'm content remaining here with you," she grinned deviously. He pursed his lips. You understand we are sworn to serve, to protect, to don't. The line ends with you, Azima, if you don't start putting in the effort. She scowled at him for that, mainly because he was right. Consider this as you will, Azima Rousseau. The voice had purred along her skin like a lover's caress. Who? She asked, her voice unnaturally steady even within the dream. You know I cannot tell you that. Then why come at all? You deserve the time to prepare for what awaits you beyond. The Rousseaus, like all the great Venandi families, relied on the Okay, let me try that again. The Rousseaus, like all the great Venandi families, relied on their Imer, Imerme, Imerai. Okay, now I got it. The Rousseaus, like all the great Venandi families, relied on the Imerai to not only train and mentor them throughout their lives as a demon hunter, but also to assist in carrying on the bloodline through the generations, just as the Immermen depended on the hunters to continue their lineage. With each dependent on the other, the females hunted the denizens of hell, while the male offspring journeyed to the parish for their own sort of training. At 18, male and female alike set off to create their own line, carrying their own heritage into the world. Azima, closer now to 19 and 18, should have left months ago. The dreams, however, they kept her home. They kept her close to familiarity and away from the unknown. Beyond. How did my mother find you? She asked suddenly, causing Che to halt his interrogation. Sheathing her own sword along her spine, she shrugged the tension from her shoulders. The movements were clear. She wasn't going to continue until she received the information she was looking for. Knowing her well enough, the Immerman sighed. Knowing her well enough, the Immerman sighed and began buttoning his long, dusty brown jacket over his chest, a sign that he too would no longer be training if she insisted that they talk instead. Azima herself used the hem of the loose linen shirt to wipe the sweat from her brow, rubbing her palms over the leather of her pants before she bent over to retrieve the cups of water waiting for her. Her braid fell over her shoulder, golden brown in the afternoon sun, and she cursed it as she flung it back over her shoulder. Why hadn't she cut it off yet? She still questioned now and again, but it was also the same shade as her mother's, and her mother's had always loved her hair. Straightening, she brought the cups of water to where Che sat along the outer edge of the training circle, delineated by logs placed years ago. Taking her seat next to him, it resembled more of a diamond than a ring, but she wasn't going to be particular. It served its purpose in the clearing behind her mother's cottage, far enough away to still see the small homestead, but not too close where the sounds of late night or early morning sparring would bother any sleeping inhabitants. Not that there were any other than she and Che, but it remained home, and when she left, she hoped someone else would appreciate it as much as she had. We were both on our own separate missions, Che said from beside her, and she almost jumped from her skin, forgetting she had asked him the question in the first place. I was traveling south from the parish, and she towards it. And your paths crossed, knowing it was meant to be, Azima sang with a roll of her eyes. You know as well that's not how it works. But for once, wouldn't it be nice? She stretched her long legs out in front of her, a Venandi and an Imerai falling passionately in love, fighting and training and living side by side until heaven or hell decides to take them. Get your head out of your dreams, Azima, Che chastised, standing from his spot on the log. From this angle, she could see the tattoo that ran along the back of his neck. The wings of an angel spread along his skin, meeting at the wings of an angel spread along his skin, meeting at the strong, bold eye of his origin. They all possessed the mark, or so Azimai was led to believe. She'd never truly met another Immerman, but then again, she hadn't truly met another family of Vinandi hunters either. It was just assumed they were there, like her, and had yet to be proven otherwise. She was about to say something witty when she realized Che's attention wasn't wholly focused elsewhere. She was about to say something witty when she realized Che's attention was wholly focused elsewhere. By the time she realized what distracted him so, he was already running at full speed towards the cottage, unbuttoning his jacket and drawing his sword. The dust, the dawn, the dusk, heaven, hell, The forest, the seas, beyond Azima Rousseau. He awaits you beyond. Azima was on her feet a moment later, pulling her sword from its sheath strapped to her back, cursing as she raced to catch up. The heat of the blazing inferno, so hot its flames burned blue, had already seared the lining of Azima's lungs to the point of coughing, and as she doubled over, holding herself as she tried to regain her breath, her eyes watered as she fully comprehended what was happening. The cottage was ablaze with demonic flame, and Che had already run inside. That's the end of chapter 1. It's been a while since I actually read this one. So, wow, okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot to do this. And end of chapter 1. Um, okay, well, there's a lot to really unpack there. This is really effective writing. MB has always been a very passionate writer, and I love what she's done. So it's making me want to go and actually read a little bit more now, especially with that cliffhanger of the end of the chapter. Yes, I see you there, MB. And well, no, thank you for writing. Don't thank me. Did I? Oh, I actually got the name right. So that's a very good thing. People can actually figure out the pronunciation. So perhaps a pronunciation guide isn't really needed. But thank you for watching along. Anyway, I'm going to be doing more of these first chapters, so please go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more of it. Um, in any case, this first chapter thing is going to be continuing. Go ahead, click like, do me some good, and I guess I will see you with the next one. Who knows what that is gonna be? Thank you for joining, and bye bye.